Today we have a knife that has really, in my mind, flown completely under the radar, and maybe that's because of its name and its overall idea. Today we are looking at, folks, the Steel Will Darkangel. This knife is designed as an ultra lightweight field knife or tactical knife, soldier knife, if you will. We got some premium materials we're gonna be looking at here today, some great design. I'm loving a lot of features in this, a great rig for attaching to your PALS webbing and your LBEs and whatever you may want to attach this to, and really talking through this knife in the idea of it being a soldier knife and the capabilities and tasks that you would expect out of a knife of this style and design. So I'm really glad we were able to pick up this blip on the radar because I think it's definitely worth taking a look at today. We'll look at all the ins and outs and see whether or not the Darkangel is going to be a knife that's going to fit well into your system. So with that being said, let's check it out. Folks, I love the blade on this knife. It just connects with me on such a visual level as well as a performance level. What we're looking at here from the handle to the tip is 5.83 inches, so good reach there. And then we have an actual cutting edge of about 5.5 inches. Now we have a high saber grind, which is great. We have these little tiny grooves right here to kind of give it the appearance of a clip point and give it that strength that a knife like that would have. But as you can see here, that tip is really tough, durable, going to give you fantastic penetration, but also fantastic strength. And then we do have a thickness here on the spine of 0.2. So really stout, durable knife, but then tapers down pretty quick as well, giving us a great fine edge with that N690. I love N690, used it a ton on several Steel Will knives as well as other production knives. And it's not only very rust resistant, holds a great edge, and it's tough, and it's easy to get a razor hair popping edge back on it without much difficulty. So this is a good field knife steel in that if you're out in the field for days or weeks and you're not going to be near your main kit for resharpening, this is going to be very easy to get that fine edge on, but it's going to hold a better edge than a lot of the other kind of stainless steel knives that are out there on the market and still give you that really nice toughness and durability. Made in Italy, as we saw, love that, so super ultra premium. It does have a 90-degree spine that just launches sparks, launches them, which is so cool. And then it does give us that black coating to, not only fight against the reflectiveness, also fight against rust, but also it's holding up fantastically well, as you can see there with all the abuse that I put through it. And I just love this. It's almost like a trailing point, but it's not. Just the shape is just so deadly, looks like something some Darkangel flying over the battlefield would, have on it as its like last ditch knife. And I love how this blade performs. In the combat sense, I was really impressed. I'm not an operator. I don't ever claim to be. I don't claim that I have, tons of knife handling experience. It would be a last-ditch effort to go hand-to-hand with somebody. It's something I would never want to do, and most of you would never want to do. But if you are trained with a knife and you know what you're doing, you know how to handle this knife, you will be very pleased, I believe, with how quick and how easy it slid through the material when I was doing slashing and stabbing. The tip just penetrated so well, and I was confident in its strength. I wasn't worried about snapping the tip off with the stabbing task, both into the logs and the wood, for the toughness part, but then into the different materials that I was quote unquote fighting, if you will, fighting against, and seeing how it just split open the material in those slashing tasks and felt really good in the hand. I was just really happy with that aspect of the knife. Now I love the saber grind with the really nice fine edge, so that not only, again, for combat style and combat implementation, going through nylon rope cordage of all types was fantastic. Paracord, if you were using this as maybe a paratrooper knife or something, you're coming out of a parachute, you have to cut yourself out. It's going to be very easy to go through that. You don't need serrations. As long as you keep this knife nice and tuned up, you will be very happy with how it performs that way. Seat belts, you roll over in your Humvee, you roll over in your car. Maybe you're just a civvy and you just want to keep it in your car as a car knife near you. You could easily not only cut your seat belt, but also use that glass breaker to break out of a normal car window, which is fantastic. So in that sense, very nice. but that fine edge rolls over into the outdoors use. And I was really, really happy with how this, you know, handled itself with the outdoor tasks, the triggers, the traps, you know, the notches, those type of things, as well as, you know, just feather stick making and how, you know, if you had to make a fire, you know, or something to survive and boil water, you know, this would be maybe possibly a great compact, lightweight bug out bag knife even. I wouldn't say it's like a true bushcraft knife, but, you know, if you are looking for that lightweight knife that could handle some combat tasks, but also handle a lot of woods tasks and outdoor tasks, the blade is set up to handle both types very well, which is really hard to do. You either find a knife that, you know, excels at the combat and isn't really all that great for the woods craft, or you find one that's really good at the woods craft but just really isn't set up for combat. I think that this has a really nice balance of both when you're, regardless if you're out in the woods or you are, you know, in an urban environment, let's say, you know, as, you know, your utility combat knife. Either way, I believe that because of the handle and the implementation of the handle and the way the blade is set up, it excels at both. All right, let's jump into this handle. Man, I love the handle on this knife. Now, the overall length on this handle is going to be 5.43 inches long. It does have a maximum thickness here of 0.8, which is great. I love that. And it has these like wing designs, again, going into the idea of being a Darkangel, protecting you over the battlefield. I love that. That gives great traction. They're not over aggressive because of the TPE handle. This is a full tang all the way through with a glass breaker out the back and a lanyard hole. I'm really liking the fact that Steel Will does that a lot on their knives, is that they're making a full tang, and to show that to you, you know, they bring it all the way through the handle. You got a real nice guard here that really locks you into place. I got large size hands, as many of you well know, and I got about 1.5 inches hanging out the back there. And again, that nice pommel right there with that little glass breaker, even a little bit of a hook. So I could do really light delimbing. This is not going to be a knife that you're going to go, you know, chop down the forest and be Paul Bunyan with. It's just not going to happen. But all of the angles are so contoured. You got that really good guard. So again, for stabbing tasks and, you know, military style tasks, you're going to feel not only comfort with your gloves on, but you're also going to get that traction from the wings and then the lockup with the guard. No jimping to speak of, and that's totally okay with me because I felt really confident in my grip when I was holding this for more of like the combat style tasks that we were doing, but also felt really comfortable for an extended period of time in carving tasks for the field aspect and, you know, the field use of this knife, having to make triggers and traps and those type of things. I could easily do that and feel very comfortable as I did it. So I don't have to sacrifice the comfort on the tactical side or on the field, you know, more fine-tuning side either, which is awesome. One of the awesome features that this knife offers is the sheath system, and I believe that Steel Will has done an amazing job with this system. Everything you see here comes with the knife. You're getting these 2 leg straps that you could run through the kydex slits if you wanted to and make it basically a really nice tight kind of drop leg feature, if you will. This has rubberized nylon on either side, and then or coated rubber nylon, and then the nylon down the middle there. So it's really going to grab to your clothing really well. It comes with the newer versions of the Blade Tech locks, where you just push the button and the whole door opens, and then they lock closed. So these are an awesome new addition to what Blade Tech is doing, and it's awesome that they decided to go with that on this setup. Then, as I said, kydex sheath comes with this really large nylon attachment that you can either completely take off if you want to, but as you can see here, it's running through these loops and velcroed, and then it loops around, and you get this huge stick of moly that has a good, nice rubber center. It's not just cloth, so it's going to give it some rigidness to it, and then a good large belt loop. And then again, if you didn't want that and you didn't want to attach it to moly this way or put it on your belt, you could take this entire system off. You have these 2 buttons right here, nice button snaps right around the guard, so it's going to keep it really locked into place. If you didn't want to use those, you could even unbutton them and attach them behind through the belt loop and get those out of the way if you wanted to. Now, this is a large kind of tab right here that you can kind of push on just to help bring the blade out if you want to. You don't need to do that to get the blade out, but there is a good click in there, and this is totally ambidextrous. This will just be kind of sticking out a little bit for you lefties, and if you really wanted to, you could grind it all the way down to this hump if for some reason this was getting in the way for lefties. Righties, it's not a problem at all, and it would still not hamper the functionality of the sheath at all, but a great sheath system for, I believe, just a great knife. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was pretty shocked when I saw the price point for this knife. Everything we've been talking about today, all of the attachments, the Italian-made N690, which I've used a lot in the channel and up to this point, particularly from Steel Will. They know what they're doing over there with the company that's heat treating and doing all that stuff. They've got this steel dialed in, and you'll be, I believe, surprised, because I was shocked. I mean, I was expecting this to be pushing 200 bucks, but this is going for $136, 136. I will have links in the description below. I know Knife Center has it. I believe Knives Ship for Free had some. I'm not seeing any on Amazon right now. I'll find as many links as I can below, because again, I believe that this knife has just kind of cruised under the radar. So I really hope that this video gives some traction to a knife that I believe is totally worth owning for many of you out there if you think that this is fitting inside one of your systems. So yeah, go check them out. Check out the links below. Obviously prices fluctuate, but that's where I'm seeing when I'm filming this is about $135, which is mind-blowing for what you're getting with this knife. So when possible, I always like to compare other knives in either similar design or capability range as the knife we're reviewing. So we have here the VG1 Cold Steel SRK, the AUS 8 SOG Seal Pup Elite, and then the 420 high carbon steel Gerber Strong Arm. All these are, in my mind, combat utility knives. Now, the thing that makes the Darkangel stand out from these other knives are two things. The first is the grind angle. This has a very high saber grind. Going above the words is where that saber grind would stop, and then you're starting to hit that flat, which means that it's going to be a better slicer than these other knives, because their grinds are more down the center is where the grind stops, and then you hit the flat on all of these. So you're getting a better slicing capability, better particularly woods and food prep capability than some of these other knives would have. So that's right out of the gate something that stands out to me. This is the most woods capable, camp knife capable out of all three of them, but still, I believe, is not losing any of its combat utility capability, because it still gives you that really good guard, great handle construction, and does have those slight clips that we've looked at, so there's still that good sense of stabbing capability. And it's going to float right in the middle of these two knives, as these three knives as well, in weight. These guys down here, these two are going to run right around the 7-ounce mark, 6 to 7 ounces. This guy's going to run you about 9 ounces. This one runs you 8 ounces. So it's kind of right in the middle, but still that really lightweight feeling in the hand, which is another great feature. Then finally, out of all of these, it's my favorite performing steel. The N690 is rust resistant, just like all these. These are all stainless of some kind. Even the 420 high carbon is rather rust resistant compared to other high carbons out there. So it's still got the rust resistant capability. It's got the toughness and edge retention, but it's much easier to put a finer edge on it than, say, particularly the VG1 SRK. It's kind of difficult to get a good edge on this thing without spending a lot of time on it. It's easier for me with this, but it's going to hold a better edge than these two knives down here. So something to note as well, and that's why for me the Darkangel is really cutting a slice out of the market, I believe, because it still gives you lots of combat capability, but it's a much better woods knife with still not losing any of that combat capability or utility capability, and it's going to give you great edge retention with good ability to get a good fine edge back on it real quickly. So that's just some kind of perspective that I wanted to give you guys compared to other utility combat knives that are out there on the market. So as we draw to a close, I don't know what I could find wrong with this knife. I mean, dang, this system was so well thought out. But who is this knife really for? Where do I see this really fitting into systems? Well, as I've touched on, obviously a soldier knife I think would be fantastic for that. It has enough capabilities that if you just like what you see here and you're just looking for a basic field knife, now this is not a bushcraft knife, but just camp tasks, do it. I mean, even with the 90-degree spine, stainless steel, ergonomics are out of this world, all the lashing options, or those of you in particular who use a lot of field style knives. Maybe you're not a soldier, but maybe you're search and rescue, something like that, and you're looking for a knife that is similar to like the Steel Will Argonaut, the Cold Steel SRK, maybe the SOG Seal Pup, the Gerber Strong Arm, those style of knives, but you're looking for something maybe with an even more premium steel and maybe not the top guard aspect that a lot of those knives have. Bam, folks, no brainer. I mean, this is it. You're looking for ultralight, tons of lashing options with a premium stainless steel. Get this blade. So guys, I really hope that this video has just helped you out with deciding if the Darkangel is worth purchasing and worth implementing into a system that you are building. As always, check us out on all the relevant social media. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Check us out on all the relevant social media. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.